What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. I am your lovely host, Aaron, and today we're checking out Spiritbox's new album, Tsunami Sea. I did a review on their last album, Eternal Blue, but I didn't really dive into who the band is and all their history kind of stuff. Not too deep, but a lot of people had a lot of questions, so I figured now is a good time to do that. This band is immensely popular despite this is only their second album, and you would think that they've been around forever. They formed in 2017. Both vocalists, Courtney LaPlante and Mike Stringer, left I Wrestled a Bear Once in 2015. Stringer wrote a bunch of demos and stuff for Courtney, and after they got married in 2016, they started recording all these songs together. They released a self-titled EP in 2017. However, it wasn't until they started recruiting members to actually fill roles within the band, because Stringer was basically doing everything. They weren't really able to tour or any of that stuff, but then they released another EP titled Singles Collection, which came out in 2019. They finally released their debut album, Eternal Blue, in 2021. It was planned for a 2020 release, but COVID made fools of us all, and it ended up halting their studio time. And I get it, it's super frustrating, very stressful for the band, but personally, I feel like this helped them out more than anything else because it really helped build up anticipation. The singles that they were releasing were absolutely just amazing. It made Eternal Blue one of the most exciting album releases, and not just 2021, but I feel like of the past 5 years at least. And not only did it get high on the charts, but it made it in top 3 of album sales. And this is a metalcore album. That is absolutely insane. This band was selling stuff like nobody else ever for a metalcore band. Their personal website for the sales was like $1 million when this album came out. That is just, it's unheard of. And then in 2023, they dropped an EP titled The Fear of Fear, which is my personal favorite release from this band. I really enjoy the themes that they explored on this EP and just the overall atmosphere of it. They also kind of experimented with different sounds. Like The Void is like nothing they've written before, which I strongly disliked it when it first came out, much like everybody else. But once the full EP came out, I absolutely loved it. And as time goes on, I find myself enjoying it more and more. They announced the release of Tsunami Sea with the first single, Soft Spine, which came out September of 2024. It's pretty aggressive, with Courtney basically letting out all of her frustration at the people that she doesn't really care that much for within the industry specifically. The intro screams, "You all deserve each other," which is directed pretty much at all the toxic people. It's followed by a really staticky, groovy verse. The chorus is cool. It has a colorful lead part with some uncomfortable atmosphere thanks to the synth. It becomes even more unhinged as we get to the breakdown in the outro. And then the second single they released, Perfect Soul, seems to focus specifically more on just atmosphere. It reminds me a little bit of Circle With Me, which is one of my favorite songs off of Eternal Blue and one of the greatest songs ever written. If you have not seen the live version of that song with Tatiana from Ginger, it is just it is just the most beautiful, perfect song ever. Go check that out if you haven't after this video, of course. Courtney's vocals they're just so freaking good, and they are just as angelic on Perfect Soul, and it mixes well with the genty guitar riff. The verses aren't quite as powerful as I prefer, such as they were with Circle With Me. I know a lot of Spiritbox fans like the heavier side of this band, and they didn't really care that much for the single, but personally I enjoyed it, and that's okay because I feel like they came back swinging with the next single, No Loss, No Love. The riff is genty once again, and the vocals are as fierce as they could possibly be. I really enjoyed the spoken word section on this song. I didn't care for it that much when I heard it as just a single, but to me, it adds a little bit more of the mystery to the song and the theme. It's incredibly angry. I imagine the song is going to be insane live. I'm sure that, they've released something heavier than this, but to me, in terms of songwriting, this is just top tier stuff for them. The final single that they released for this album was Crystal Roses. I feel like it's their attempt at mixing rock and EMD. Again, turned a lot of people off, specifically the people like the pure heavy metal enthusiasts. Personally, I didn't really love it, but I thought it was pretty cool and I felt like it was well done. It might have been a little bit more appropriate as like a bonus track or like a B-side on this album, so it just kind of doesn't feel like it really fits in with everything else. But if you ignore all of these singles and you go straight to the opening track titled, I believe, Fata Morgana, I believe that's how it's pronounced, or Fata Morgana, we see them setting the tone for this album in a very brutal way. The riff is dynamic with loads of dissonance, the chorus changes gears quickly, and it's just absolutely amazing. The atmosphere changes and becomes very euphoric, though. Courtney's cleans are echoey and they sound like a voice that's beckoning you. The bridge adds a lot to the final chorus, even more with the clean guitar echoing along with her vocal effect. I think this is one of the best songs that this band has ever written from a creative writing perspective, and it flows straight into the next song, Black Rainbow, which keeps the energy going. The vocal effect on this one, it's kind of weird, honest. I didn't really enjoy it that much, at least the first time I heard it. It's the verses, I don't know, they just don't really mesh that well when you compare it to the chaotic chorus. The music in the post-chorus honestly doesn't really help all that much. I love the evolution as it goes into verse 2, though. Again, you just see some really brilliant songwriting here. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but as the song goes on, I fall in love with it, and all the pieces come together, and you see what it is, and it's just great. It's heavy, but it doesn't really fall into that stereotypical kind of metalcore sound, which I was a little afraid that this band was going to do, and I feel like they're tiptoeing that line really elegantly. Then we have the song Keep Sweets, which it kind of does the opposite, admittedly. You can't help but love it. The vocal melody in the first half of the verse is really addicting, and then all the aggression comes out in the second half of the verse, and it is phenomenal. The chorus has a great hook, and the lyrics are very vulnerable, and you can really feel the emotion. The atmosphere doesn't really change that much musically, making the different vocal styles just hit so much harder. And then the solo comes in the outro, and it is so beautiful. And then that brings us to the title track. This one is pretty deep. It's about feeling like you're never enough, specifically to your own standards. We all have all this like preconceived notions of things that personally we should be able to do in ways that we should be able to be, things we should be and stuff like that. And if we don't live up to those standards, we could really beat ourselves up. And the imagery and the metaphors that are used in the lyrics paint a picture of the depression that this can just bring on you without any exterior things. It's all within your head in terms of your own standards. The clean vocals in this are just full of melancholy, especially in the chorus. It makes for a really good midpoint in this album as it brings the emotion to the front of the music, and they really let you feel it. It's pretty mellow, letting you catch your breath a little bit, especially after the intense first half of this album. However, they follow this up with A Haven with Two Faces, which has one of the coolest sounding guitar sections. It's really glimmery. It sounds really good with the drums that are sitting in front of the mix. But then it does turn up pretty hard, specifically in the pre-chorus, where we see Courtney expressing her frustrations once again. The bridge offers a sort of bridge for this emotion, and to me it hits a peak. This really feels like the climax of the album in terms of the story and all the emotions coming out. And then we have the song Ride the Wave, which is really different. It has a really cool, funky groove to it. It feels like something you could dance to, something that I feel like this band hasn't done before. The chorus sounds really good, but to me, it's overshadowed by the verses with just that rhythm. It is so freaking addicting. And the breakdown has that same rhythm in it. It's just a lot heavier, which is a really nice touch relating the two of them together. And that brings us to the closing track, Deep End, which is a tribute to Bill Cook, who was a former member of the band who passed away in 2024. This song wasn't necessarily written for him, but it is dedicated to him, and the lyrics work perfectly for it. The emotion is thick. It's more focused on the lyrics than anything else. I feel like this song doesn't really bring anything new to the table. To me, it's a great closer for a fantastic record, but I can see a lot of fans being kind of disappointed with the way this album ends, considering how kind of not innovative, but just how different it was, at least compared to what the band has done in the past. And in conclusion, I gotta say that I don't really like Spiritbox. I mean, I do, but I'm not a fanboy. When they release something, I kind of roll my eyes because it's going to bring out all the people that just talk about nothing but Spiritbox on social media, and it also brings out a lot of the people who are just so tired of hearing about Spiritbox on social media. So I gotta say, the only band that I really fanboy over bands is Era and also August Burns Red. That's pretty much it. But with that said, I gotta say, this is pretty much a perfect album. They matured a lot. They tried new things, which really worked. They tried out different sounds, which to me really worked. The only issues I really had with this album were a few of the vocal effects. I didn't really care that much for like the EMD kind of thing that they tried out, but at the same time, it doesn't sound bad. I understand people won't like it because it's not super heavy and in your face and aggressive and doesn't have Courtney screaming, but it just sounds good. They did a good job at trying to blend different genres together, and it worked out. And I feel like most fans are probably gonna like this album, and I'm right there with them, even trying super hard to find stuff to criticize this album over. I couldn't do it. I found myself nitpicking, and it just wasn't it. So because of that, I gotta give Tsunami Sea by Spiritbox a 9.6 out of 10. And that's one of my highest ratings easily. And like I said before, I tried my best to pick this album apart about things I didn't like, and it just wasn't there. So yeah, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Tsunami Sea. Let me know what you'd rate it and what your favorite song is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my future reviews or New Music Friday, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. That way you'll also get notifications and my videos will pop up in your recommended section on YouTube. It just, doing any of those things does a tremendous amount of amazing stuff for me and the almighty algorithm. And I just appreciate you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music and just give you my opinion. If you disagree with me, you're totally welcome to. No harm, no foul. And I just hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night whenever you have been watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.